It's time for DC fans to celebrate around the world. At least I hope that's what we will be doing. Zack Snyder's The Justice League is coming out on March 18th, aka the Snyder Cut. So with the release of the Snyder Cut, how could I not do a Justice League inspired project? The answer is, I'm gonna do one. The Snyder Cut, aka Zack Snyder's The Justice League, is coming to HBO Max on March 18th. I think I'm gonna have this post up a day after, so it may already be out. And if so, you're probably watching it, and I'm probably watching it. As a fan of the DC movies, I will say The Justice League is at the bottom of the list for me. But I'm hoping that's all gonna change. I'm so excited to see Zack Snyder's take on the Justice League, see Superman in the regeneration suit, see the Joker, see all of the new Easter eggs and scenes and shots and whatnot that Zack Snyder has been preparing for us. I think the runtime is gonna be around 4 hours, so it's definitely gonna be a movie, popcorn, pizza, all the snacks type of watch party for me. I am going to be making a costume or an outfit inspired by the regeneration suit that we saw Henry Cavill's Superman wearing in the new footage. It is a black Superman suit, if you will, and I'm going to try to recreate this. I debated on whether I wanted to go full on match for match, and I decided I don't know if I'm good enough at sewing yet to make pants. So I'm gonna do a dress because pants seem a lot harder. My project is going to actually be a thrift flip. So I went thrift shopping and I found a couple pieces that reminded me of elements of the suits. Fabrics, colors, etc. And I'm going to take those pieces and kind of deconstruct them slightly and put it back together in a very Superman-esque way. So while my Superman outfit is going to be a dress, I'm of course going to be incorporating some of those iconic elements. A cape, his iconic logo here on the front, and hopefully I do it justice. Give you the rundown on all of the supplies. P.S. I'm making this video from my mom's house, so if you don't recognize my background, that's because I'm up here bugging her for a couple days. So at the thrift store, I actually bought this black dress. It is a size up from what I usually wear, and it is a kind of peplum shape. I'll show you in a moment, but I really love the fabric. It was kind of this very thick, structured fabric that really kind of felt like it could give off some good superhero suit vibes. So I've got this dress. It's a little big on me, and I don't necessarily like the shape. I'm gonna reconstruct it to be more of a pencil skirt bottom, hopefully. Along with the dress, which already has beautiful fabric, I am going to attempt to add some boning. So you'll see in a lot of fancy dresses the kind of structured outlines of, I guess, called boning. I am new to the world of sewing, if you can't find out. And I've been watching some tutorials on TikTok and Instagram, and a lot of people just use zip ties for this. They basically just sew in a line here, put the zip tie in, and it kind of gives it that structured shape, which I thought might be really great for a Superman costume. He's obviously got his abs. I don't have those, but this might just give the dress a little bit more structure and kind of put off some superhero vibes. So one of the most important pieces, of course, is the cape. I really wanted a big flowy cape. Originally, I had looked at some thrift stores trying to see if I could find a piece of fabric that I could use, but they just weren't wide enough or big enough. And I really wanted that majestic, flowy, moving in the wind essence that Superman has, and I ended up buying some at the fabric store. I invested a little bit more in this piece because I'm hoping to be able to use this cape again for other projects, because a black cape can obviously be reused in a lot of costumes. So I'm super excited about it, actually. I ended up going with a faux suede, I think it was called. So on the inside, it is this really nice, kind of pretty, suede-y looking material, but on the other side is this smooth, kind of glossy fabric, which I really kind of like that two-toned. So I think what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna have the suede on the inside of the costume, so if you're looking at me, you'll be able to see it, but from the back, we'll have this sleek fabric on the sides. I got a ton of that fabric, so I'm gonna be able to make a super long cape if I want. I'm not entirely sure how dramatic I'm gonna go just yet. To be determined. And last but certainly not least, we're gonna have to get that iconic Superman logo on my chest for the dress. I didn't exactly know how to make this. If I was at home, I would probably cut something out on my Cricut or attempt to 3D print something. But again, I'm at my mom's house. Don't have my full kit of parts here. I picked up some foam sheets and I am going to try to stencil out the logo, maybe with my mom's help because she's a better artist than I am. Cut it out, paint it with acrylic paint. Again, this logo for this version of Superman's costume is black and silver, so I will be painting it. I'm hoping that the foam sheets remain flexible enough and pliable that I can kind of mold it to the shape of my chest so it's not just sticking out like a board. And then I'm thinking I'll hand stitch it around the edges, hoping that it doesn't look too crafty, too childish. I'm really hoping it works. This could be the part that I end up changing, so we'll see what happens. I will say I'm super excited to make a Superman costume. When I was doing some research to see what others had done, maybe just spark some inspiration, especially for how to make the chest logo, I was really frustrated with my findings. I mean, if you search for a Superman costume, you just go so many commercialized costumes from Halloween stores, and especially if you search for women's Superman costume, you just get some short, tight little dresses. And I'm really excited to make something different and give Superman a new take from my perspective. So this is the before dress. I would love to take the neckline up somehow. That might be the hardest part. I just would like it to be a little higher for all intents and purposes. So I'm gonna work on pinning that, sewing that in place. Once I have that done, I'm then going to take the skirt in. So I'm actually going to make this pencil skirt a little bit more form-fitting and get rid of the extra fabric. There's two side seams, so I'm just going to alter those on the sides. Leaves the back zipper in, which is so nice. I won't even have to touch that. Plan of attack: update the shoulder seams, raise the collar, take in the sides of the dress. So after pinning where I wanted my new neckline to kind of be and how much fabric I needed to take off, I turned the dress inside out, and I just am trying to line up the neckline so that this nice edging actually still looks like it matches up. So I'm going to attempt to now sew across here and then down the sleeves. So there will be a new seam line, I think, on the sleeves. We'll see how that turns out. I just did a quick try on with the dress, made a quick slit where I want to make my incision, and I'm going to cut all the way up to where my new seam is on my shoulders and then do a new stitch just to bring the arm in and also just to line this up. Okay, so here is my lazy try on over my shirt. Here are the revised sleeves. You can see the neckline is higher, new seam going down the sides. And now I'm going to turn the dress inside out, put it back on, and then pin it down the sides where I want my new side seams to go. Okay, I don't want to be naive here. I think I could be slightly in over my head, right? I pinned it down the sides of the skirt, but I'm just not quite confident that I will be able to stitch it. The skirt style is different on the original dress, so the bottoms don't exactly line up. I don't want to cut off too much fabric. What I'm going to do, I have this pattern luckily with this kind of pencil skirt bottom, so I'm going to cut out the two skirt pieces for that, use it as a stencil on the dress just to know where to trim on the sides and where to add the seams. After cutting out the shape of the new skirt, following that pattern shape, I just pinned along the sides, trying to be careful to line up these lines in the fabric. Now I'm just going to stitch my new seam along and try to meet it right at the top where the existing seam is. Yesterday I finished up mostly with the dress, taking it in on the sides to where I'd like it. Probably gonna do another fitting just to make sure that it is the right size. I recruited my mom to trace Superman's logo onto paper for me because she is a much better artist than I am. At home I would normally use my Cricut just to precision cut it because I am not that great at drawing things out and getting them to look correct. She made me this Superman logo though, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, trace it onto a very lightweight foam, and then I'm going to paint the foam with that silver metallic paint that I got, maybe do a couple coats, and then hand sew it onto my dress. For the logo, I did measure how wide I wanted it to be for my dress, how tall, and that's how we made the right size. I'm also going to start working on the cape. I do have this pattern for a Doctor Strange costume that I got on sale at Joann's. I think I may use the pattern here for Doctor Strange's cape to help me with the shape of Superman's cape as well. I'll probably go around the edges and just do a nice seam to make things look nice and clean and neat. And then I'll find a way to temporarily attach it to the dress or to the top of my shoulders. I'd like to be able to remove the cape so that I can use it for other costumes as well.
After cutting out my Superman logo from the foam, I sealed it with Mod Podge, just giving it a couple coats and letting it dry.
So I've gone ahead and pinned one of the cape pieces onto the black fabric with some extra at the bottom. I am going to make my cape pretty much floor length, so it's going to go from top to bottom about 57 inches. As far as the width at top, I think I'm going to make the top piece about 36 inches wide, which is obviously much broader than my shoulders, so I'll have some room to bunch it so it's flowy. The bottom then is going to extend out again into a triangle peak, making it much wider at the bottom. So I've gone ahead and folded over the pattern piece, leaving about 18 inches across the top. That way when you unfold it, it'll be about 36 inches. Folded it all the way down. I'm just going to cut the same angle at the other side.
Once the Mod Podge was dry on my foam logo, I covered it with a couple coats of silver acrylic paint, making sure that it was nice, even, and well coated. For my Superman cape, after cutting out the fabric, I folded in the edges and sewed along to give it a nice clean seam along the edges of the cape. So I did a couple coats of the metallic silver paint on the Superman logo, which I made out of this very lightweight foam, just craft foam. I let it dry, and now I'm going to work on pinning it to the dress in place, and then I think I'm going to try and either go along and hand stitch it to keep it in place and to keep it flat, or potentially hot glue. I don't know yet, but I'm going to go hand stitching first. Let's be honest, hand stitching is the bane of my existence. Oh wait, that's not a Superman villain.
For the top of the cape, I folded it and kind of pleated it along the edge to kind of give those distinct folds that Superman has on his shoulders. And also, you'll remember my cape is a lot wider than I need it to be, so that'll bring it all in and help it to be gathered and a little bit extra flowy. Now I decided I'm gonna just stitch some straight lines. I already did it on this side. Be careful if you do this because the fabric is thick, so I haven't broken my needle, knock on wood. I probably shouldn't even say that out loud. Taking it nice and slow, but just doing some straight stitches to keep these pleats in place. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's a girl who is just learning how to sew, and I made a Superman dress.
All in all, I am very pleased with how this dress turned out. I will say I enjoy the thrift flips, if you will, taking this black dress, altering it, giving it a new shape. But at the end of the project, I don't quite have the same validation or pride in my product as I do when I have put together a whole sewing project from scratch. That's not to say that this isn't a great route, but I think as I'm learning to sewing, I'd really like to start doing more projects from start to finish where I'm sewing the entire piece. All that being said, I do really like the way that this dress came together with this new kind of pencil skirt shape. The logo really worked out and I'm glad it did. As you can see, I'm home now, but when I was working from my mom's, I only had certain products. She did a great job stenciling out the logo for me. Painting it, I did Mod Podge and then an acrylic paint on top allowed this thin foam to be very flexible. Hand stitched it around just to give it kind of a decorative stitch almost. Hand stitching though, I will tell you what, I do not like hand stitching anything. If I can sew with my machine, I'm going to. I think my favorite part of the outfit though is the cape. It turned out so swooshy and so nice. I really like the fabric choice. It doesn't wrinkle very easily, which is great. It's heavy enough that it can hang and drape very elegantly, but also when I was out in the wind, and boy was I ever, it will just gracefully flow and not too light that it just takes off on its own. The underside is kind of this faux suede, which is really pretty, and then the back is more of a shiny satiny black, which kind of complements it, I think, on both sides. I do have plans to use this cape for other costumes, other projects, so I didn't want to permanently attach it to the dress, and I didn't know if that would be the best route either. I feel like a lot of capes just tie in the front, but for Superman, that's not how it goes. So what I did is I gathered it in the back to give it kind of these iconic seams that he has, and then I added Velcro right on the shoulders so I could attach it in place, take it off whenever I want, and I'm not sure if I'll keep that long term as my way to attach it to other outfits. I might kind of end up adding some kind of clasp in the front, but for Superman, really wanted this to sit on the shoulders versus attaching in the front. I made the cape really long, but I was going for a very dramatic look. So for this point, it was good. If I wore it out, I may shorten it, the hem a little bit, just so it's not dragging as much. Here is the back. You can see with the folds. I really like it. I will say the material is on the heavier side, so it can start to pull down the dress a little bit. I was shifting a lot, so if I was gonna be out in public for a long period of time, I might need to think that through, just as a way to better support the weight of the fabric. This is my second flip project. My first one was a bridesmaid dress flip for a WandaVision dress, which you can check out above or below. This one was more of a thrift flip. Yes, only one piece I actually thrifted, which was the dress. I bought the fabric for the cape because I couldn't find a big enough piece at a thrift store. I did have initial plans to potentially do a boning in the dress, but when it came down to it, I was not 100% confident that I could pull it off. I was a little strapped for time, and I think I'm just gonna leave that for a future project. I am super excited to check out the Snyder Cut. It is a runtime of just over 4 hours, so it is gonna be a watch party this weekend at my house. Cannot wait to see Henry Cavill back as Superman in this new suit. Can't wait to see the Snyder touches in this reconfigured view of the Justice League. Thank you so much for watching the making of my Superman dress, costume, cosplay, outfit, whatever you want to call it. If you like this video, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I make and bake all of the geeky things, from cakes to sewing to DIYs to interviews, trailer reactions, all with a geek twist, of course. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm about to head on over to my couch and watch the Snyder Cut, and I hope you are checking it out too.